There I was, hiding in the house. I can remember being terrified. The Indians were circling the house. They had their war paint on and bonnets. They had grabbed my sister Tammy and were riding off. She was screaming. I was frozen. I didn't know how to help. I was only a kid. There was a shotgun blast. I started. And I realized I was still in my bed. I breathed a huge sigh of relief, rolled over, and froze. She was gone. The Indians really had got Tammy. I ran out of the house screaming, Granny, the Indians got Tammy! The Indians really got Tammy! You can imagine my grandmother's confused look on her face when I got to the cow pen. She had left the house to go milk the cow for the day, and I'm sure the shotgun blast I heard was the screen door slamming. But here she was, all 5'3" of my American hero, Irma Heinen. She stood there, and I knew she could fix everything. She had moved across Texas in a covered wagon, killed rattlesnakes, watched the world go from wagon to space shuttle, and would help anyone in need. She was born Irma Anna Brownie on May 12, 1909 in Lockhart, Texas, to Carl and Hermina Schienemann Brownie. They had met on the boat coming across from Germany with their parents. The families originally settled in the New Braunfels area. After Carl and Hermina married and had their children, they decided to move to South Texas. The wagon was loaded with their 5 children, and they headed for South Texas. Ricky Longfellow, a writer-editor for the Federal Highway Administration, noted that a covered wagon could travel 8 to 20 miles a day, depending on the road conditions, the health of the settlers. So, therefore, it took them probably 2 weeks to move in what now takes us 2 hours to drive. The wagon stopped in Ray Point. It was here in Live Oak County that Irma Heinen watched the world change. She would tell stories of rattlesnakes being quite common in her new home. I cannot count the number of times she would cut off their heads and throw them away. She would ride her horse to school in Ray Point, and she attended church with her family in the same building. And it was here that she met Gerhard Heinen. He was also a German immigrant, and Irma and Gerhard were married in 1933 and moved across Live Oak County to 100 acres that they had bought. Go3rivers.com tells us that Three Rivers is located between San Antonio and Corpus Christi, near the Atascosa, Nueces, and Frio River. This location would bring several exciting events into Irma's life. Seasonal rains could cause floods, and she would live through more than one hurricane in her little 3-room house. She would watch as they brought electricity to her home in 1940. Her daughter, Mary Jane Heinen, told me that she still remembers using horse and wagon to farm. Gerhard would get a second job to help support the family. They would raise cattle, farm, and Gerhard worked in the oil field. Tragedy would also strike here in this place. It is here that she learned of her husband's passing in 1951 in an oil field accident. She would be left alone to raise their 8 children. Thankfully, her family was still in the area and they could help. She never remarried but kept moving forward. She would get her first phone line in 1960. It was a party line that she shared with all the families on her little road. Irma was always busy when I was growing up. She would, over time, join the Ladies' Aid, American Cancer Society, and the Home Demonstration Club. She baked for herself and to sell in the goodie box.